Okay, good morning. It's the 18th of March 2024 and you're welcome to Family and Values. Today is a Monday, another beautiful working day to start the week, to enjoy the week, to enjoy the beauty that the week has brought upon us. The weekend has been a wonderful one and we give God all the glory. It's an opportunity for you to see a new working day, like we used to say on the show. When you wake up strong and healthy and you're able to stand on your feet and get to work, you have to tell your Creator, thank you. Because there's nothing as beautiful as waking up and being able to do the things you know how to do. And God giving you grace. It's going to be a very graceful week. Thank you for being a guest on Family and Values. It's another week. Let's sell it. Let's enjoy the show because it's going to be educative, exciting, and informative all through the week. My name is Joy Abu. Like I used to say, we are streaming across all our social media platforms. Please download the Galaxy mobile app so that you can always watch us on the go. And yes, turn on your Facebook notifications so that you know when Family and Values with the beautiful ladies come on your screen, like always elegant to grace your morning and give you that smile to kickstart your week and your day. Okay, I'm not in the studio alone, If I'm here, you should know Olori is always by my side, my right hand paddy, always giving me the energy to move on. Good morning.
A beautiful morning to you.
Yeah, it is.
How was your weekend?
Thank God, I can see there is the...
What is
let's not talk again.
There is nothing. She's always looking for something. Always wanting to
yes,
say
I always want to say something.
When you have somebody next to you and the person has not noticed anything or decided not to see anything, you feel like, this person has abandoned me. He's not even doing anything. So I'm glad and I'm happy that, you're here and you are still vibing me by saying there's something.
Yes, sir. I'm always noticing.
A beautiful morning to you, Nigeria. Beautiful morning to you, Lagos, all our viewers all over. My name is Remain Olori Adejoke. To be there with my friends call me Olori AJ. I hope you're splendid. Okay, mine was, and it's just to the glory of God that we are here. So I'm not taking it for granted. All to the Almighty God. For us to be here, for you to be there. At least someone to tune in to say we want to watch Family and Values. We appreciate you. We love you. We are grateful. And to the people God has used to bring us here, to the one person, our president, our guy at the top, to Steve Ojo, we are grateful. Yes, God bless you and continue to strengthen you and flourish your life with all the necessary, nourishment that you need to keep strong, because we still want you more and more stronger.
Yes, we still want more and more stronger. Talking about that, our producer is a very much strong. I spoke with her over the weekend and she's doing great,
She's
we are hoping, she'll soon be here in the studio to, carry out her usual.
Our work requires a lot of time, efficiency, dedication, diligence, consistency, CCC. And our body too will definitely need it.
Yes.
So until when we break down, we don't really know we need rest, but really we need to find time to create that little time to do it. So I think she will need to do that now.
Talking about rest, how was your weekend? How did you enjoy, or let me put it this way, how did you flex the weekend? Because I want to believe it was a restful one for you. Maybe you had one or two parties. So how was your weekend?
Sincerely, my weekend just came and it was restful because I didn't have to go for rehearsal this Saturday, this past weekend. Yes, because our youth took over the altar yesterday.
Okay.
So it gave people like me and some of my friends, in the choir department and some of the area, work as a church member, a little bit of rest. So we doing our normal thing. So the weekend was, a bit restful. Thank God nobody called me for any disturbing call. I really enjoyed it, but maybe not full, but at least in a way I did.
Well, my weekend was I was basically at home. Yeah, I was at home. I didn't really go anywhere. And then yes, Pastor Jude's Thanksgiving birthday Thanksgiving was on Sunday, so we had to worship with him. So we
was there anywhere there were more items 7.
Of course, it was actually fun. It was lovely. At least I had to laugh. I had to.
And you did not dim me feet. Can you imagine?
No. Before you accuse me,
cut a piece of cake, you know, a slice, and just bring it for me, if not for Johnson, at least me that she's calling her right hand.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'm going to reach out to Pastor to at least to send cake down.
Please, just a slice. I love cakes. Forget, don't abuse me. I love cake. I eat in moderation.
I'll reach out to Pastor to actually say.
And this will also help me to say a shout out to a very good woman, a woman who has been so nice, so good. She's a nurse, and when I mean a nurse, she's a professional to the core, and a matron. In short, she's a chief matron. And happy birthday to this woman. I think her work has really gone so much into her profession, has gone so much into her, that she is so caring, loving, passionate about people's well-being and all that. Good. So happy birthday to Ma'am Betty Okon, and also to Ayo.
Happy birthday to the both of you.
To all of you. Many more food for years.
Okay. Today it's Monday, and you usually know that Monday we talk about courtship. You that is about entering into that relationship, or it's 2 steps into the relationship. We like drawing your attention to things that would give you 2 steps backward to sit down and think, do you really want to go ahead with this relationship or not? Because once you move it into marriage, it becomes difficult to pull out. So we use Mondays to talk to those who are in courtship, who are in partnership, who are in friendship, who are planning to take the next step into saying I do. Today is not going to be different. We are going to be bringing another exciting topic, very educative and interesting, something you really want to know, so that you learn. And when you learn, when you know something, it helps you prepare you for your next move. So we'll be going on a quick mini feature break, and when we return, we would start our conversation properly. We'll see you on the other side. Something in life, and if you do not change to reach out to the present situation, life will change you and redirect you, you know. So today we are redirecting you from the mini future you just listened to the topic of today, and we are talking about the importance of premarital counseling. Maybe we just got the wrong this thing sent to the control room, but we are discussing the importance of premarital counseling. Unfortunately, our in-house guest couldn't join due to distance where he's coming from. He's still stuck in traffic, but we will be joined by our Zoom guest in the person of Joy Nwokolo. Once she's on standby and once she's up, we'll be bringing her up to join the conversation. The importance of premarital counseling. Olori, now I want to ask this question. When you were in this courtship, did you sincerely go for any premarital counseling?
Yes, no.
Did you do it because you were in a sect religion that needed it, or did both of you just sit down and say, okay, let's go for it? Was it something you both sincerely desired to go in for?
When it was getting to that time of my life, when I believed that any time I may be taken, you know, I was first looking at the area, me particularly.
Okay.
I wanted to be sure. I'm from a Muslim background. My father is a Muslim. And as the first child, I was thinking, okay, if he comes, fine. I need to know what I want.
What and what.
So I was getting ready to know, because I don't know much about my upbringing was not Muslim. I grew up with my mom, so she's a Christian. So I had to balance it, so that I said, okay, being who I am, I wanted to know. So what I did was to first know how to do all the Muslim process of marriage, what I need to do and all that. So I was asking.
Did you have it at the back of your mind that you were going to get married to a Muslim, or you were just doing it because you wanted to know what the procedures were?
Then again, I remember I was going out with a Muslim. an Hausa guy then. So I was like, okay, let me just prepare my mind. And I don't know, whichever way, anyone that comes. So I was going through the normal process of knowing how to pray, what to do, joining them in the fasting. And during the Christian this thing, of course, I know that. So I go Ash Wednesday. So, you know, when it was getting to that time, I was really not ready. Sincerely, I was not really ready to get married. But a woman I work with then was like, do you think this kind of opportunity come all the time? You know, she was like counseling me. We work together. She's older than me. And because we're in the same department, the husband I'm married now was just coming all the time. We work in the same building. Okay. And she was coming and she was like, my daughter, I wish they are your age mate, but they don't have anybody yet. And here you have someone, you are not serious, you are not this. I say, hey, you can imagine. So it was like, prepare your mind. And so I started, you know, asking questions, especially because I am of the Christian background. So I want to start asking, what are the things I need to do? How do I know this person is right for me? You know, and I wanted to take that journey, whether my mom was there, my father was there or not. And I remember vividly, before we even started the process of the wedding, my father had to call the two of us and say, you, wherever my daughter has stopped now, promise you are going to continue after. She's not going to be a redundant, and he promised, you understand? Another thing he told us was, don't follow the trend everybody is following. Before your wedding, make sure you have an apartment. Make sure you are paid for so amount of months or a year. Make sure you have full stuff in your house. You know, it's late now, but those things keep on coming.
They keep on coming, I think.
And so it went like that until we now had to go to church counseling, which was a process we need to take, and it was an eye-opener also, because you learn certain things that you never even preempt. So you say, I will have 2 children, I will have 4 children. This is when I am not going to get married until. So it was just, maybe not totally, but at least a little understanding of what we need to do.
Well, it's good for somebody like me. I didn't know what premarital counseling was. I didn't, but I know my twin actually went through that process. She got married quite early, so she went through, at least I am aware that they started that process together. They went through the counseling from one stage to another and this thing. But one thing I would always say is, I knew that for every time they went and came back, she was always saying some things, you know.
There's always about something you want to like.
And that question of, okay, so they say before we get married, and for me, what I really noticed was they were running series of tests. Then I had aunties that went through premarital counseling also. They did tests, they did this, they'll discover, and then some organizations themselves will go as far as digging deep to know if the man has other children, you know. So it was really a process. It wasn't just wake up and just get married like what we see. So I think it's really important that people incorporate that premarital, and that's what we are saying here on Family and Values, is you don't just jump into marriage. You said something, you have to learn the Islamic side, because you were just open that I might get married to an Islamic person. Yes. And then you came through the Christian side and you started learning, which of course was new to you. So I was talking to someone yesterday and I was like, the best thing a lady can do for herself is first have your own section and ask yourself if you're ready. Then before you now even have your partner come join you, both should have separate counseling. Then you now have this thing. Okay, our Zoom guest is on standby. Thank God the network has allowed her to join us quite early. Good morning, Joy Wokolo. Good morning. Good morning, Joy Wokolo. She's a relationship marriage coach expert and of course a counselor. She will be joining us to discuss the topic, the importance of premarital Counseling. You look beautiful this morning, and I must say,
thank you.
You
so
rested
much.
well over the weekend.
Yeah,
That's what I'm going to say. I've seen that you really rested well. So the glowing is just reflecting here in the studio.
You can see that.
Good morning. So I'm going to ask this very first question. Why should couples engage in premarital counseling? Why? Why should we talk to them to engage in premarital counseling?
Okay, so thank you for having me. Premarital counseling, if you ask me, or how I look at it, many times we box premarital counseling into a corner. I like to use the term premarital education, so that we understand that it's a well-rounded, an exercise that couples or intending couples are about to get themselves into. Many times, especially in this part of the world, when we hear the word counseling, what comes to mind typically is something that is wrong, that we are trying to fix. Something that already has some issues, you getting stuck and you're looking for how to get yourself unstuck. For a couple who is just trying to start the journey, saying them getting premarital education, because we understand that when you are educated about something, you're brought up to speed, you're brought into the light, you're put through, the necessary steps, the fundamental steps, the depth of what you're looking at in terms of counseling a couple. So typically, premarital education is a case where you bring two people who are planning to do life together, who are looking to start the journey together, and my network here, I don't know my network. Sorry, can you hear me? I think it was a network glitch.
We can hear you.
Joy Okolo, we can actually hear you from the studio, so you can continue.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought I was thrown out from the Zoom link. So, it's about getting these two people together to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Because many times couples or people are looking to get married already have preconceived notions, preconceived ideas. The kind of idea, advice, maybe parents have been giving to their children. Okay, marry this kind of man, don't do this, marriage is this, marriage is that. And from the guy, you also may have some preconceived ideas or advices already laid down based on where he's coming from in his family. However, when we put an intending couple through premarital education, making them understand that there are some things you may have been taught in your families that you need to deconstruct. Place of deconstruction where you are unlearning, relearning, and then learning new things, just so that you are able to go into marriage and get it right. And some of those things, of course, we know that people have be put through when it comes to premarital education, is knowing how to communicate in marriage, communication about finances, about two people in marriage eventually will evolve. How you go into marriage is not how you're going to remain. In fact, when you go into marriage, understanding that every human being is an evolving being. We evolve per time. The kind of person you got married to in the next 5 years may have added one or two, feathers on their caps, or may have added one or two things you don't like. How will you be able to maneuver when that time comes? How will you be able to adapt? All of these things, teaching them virtues, different virtues they must have as a couple as they go together, making them understand that the first 2 years of marriage may run on autopilot, where there's still romance in the air, the couple are still, that gives love, butterflies in the belly and all. But as the journey, continues, you find out that romance, you have to begin to erase it manually now. It's not what you live to operate on autopilot. And every human being, marriage, our sides get magnified, either our good sides or our bad sides. So in the long run, premarital education is making a couple see, an intending couple, sorry, see that when you come into marriage, it's not always business as usual. How will you maneuver? That's always a big question that premarital education tries to, treat.
I love that delivery. Now, I want to find out, should a prospective couple, okay, if one of them should not, want to be part of the counseling, a premarital counseling process, if the guy or the lady say, I don't think we need it, I don't think we want it, it's not necessary, we understand ourselves, if one of them should back out, do you think it is good to call off such a relationship, or you should be patient? What do we do in such a situation?
So that in itself is an anomaly. When two people decide to do marriage together, when two people say we have decided to journey the rest of our adulthood together, it is only natural and healthy to have the two people, go through premarital counseling, go through understanding what it means to be married. So when a person decides and says, I don't think I am cut out to do this thing, either for personal reasons or for, whatever reason, then that in itself is a red flag. It's enough for you to raise an eyebrow and say, what is going on here? Because we understand, even as Christians, just as Amos 3:3 says, can two walk together except they be agreed? So even before you start the marriage journey, there has to be that agreement, which is the foundation, saying that we will submit ourselves to be counseled, to be educated about what we are getting into. So it's a red flag. And the other person, it now depends on the other person. It's the person's prerogative to say, okay, yes, I think let's still continue, or I think this is not normal, I want to back out.
Okay, being my namesake and the fact that you're beautiful and smiling this morning is making me also smile here in the studio. We'd love to hold you on there. Let's go on our word of mouth, and when we return, we'll continue our conversation with you. Please just hang in there for us. We'll see you on the other side. And, our guest via Zoom, Joy Nwokolo, has been very educative and explanatory on it. Joy, we are back. Hope you're still there with us. Hello, Joy Nwokolo. Okay,
yes, I am.
Sure,
and then it's
still there.
Joy, ma'am. Joy Nwokolo.
We talk about premarital counseling, like you say, education. It is expected that if I want to put in for a particular course, I should have an idea what the course outline is and what I should I say, gain at the end of that set time for that course. You hear people say there is nothing being taught in premarital counseling, is the regular things the same. So, but I would want you to briefly tell us the important lessons that are taught during premarital counseling, the important lessons that you would say, okay, at the end of this, these are the lessons that are taught. Like if you say, okay, the course outline, this is what just the important lessons that are taught during premarital counseling, so that it will help people out there to know that it's just a serious business and very educative. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So during premarital counseling, it's important, first of all, that we take it up from the self angle. And this is where many times some people or some of us as counselor, we tend to like bring intending couples together, and we start with the marriage. Counseling, first of all, has to begin with self, in terms of counseling the two people as individuals, making them understand who they are, first of all, as individuals, and the kind of personality of people they are, and then the kind of self they will bring into the marriage. So many times the issue might come from trying to focus more on the marriage, counseling an intending couple, and you're focusing on looking at the marriage journey. Let's start with the journey in marriage. Let's start with communication. Let's start with finances. Let's start with sex, and things like that. Negating the fact that, first of all, counseling, premarital counseling ought to begin with the person, the individuals who are going into marriage. So in premarital counseling, first of all, self has to be defined. Self has to be, there has to be some deconstruction. There has to be some bringing in some lessons, making them understand that, first of all, you are first an individual, who is going into marriage. So there has to be that part where you make them see who they are or who they should be prior to entering marriage. So there's also the aspect, of course, when we now begin to say, okay, we're dealing with courtship, because we understand that even during premarital, you're dealing with people who are not married yet, or you're dealing with people who are in the courtship phase, making them see that there are questions, salient questions they must ask themselves even before they take the next step. Yes, we understand that churches, and I don't know if perhaps other religions to go through counseling, but majorly because I'm a Christian, in churches, when we bring intending couples together, they would say, okay, let's look at marriage. Let's look at different topics. There's the spirituality part, where you're making sure that, okay, there's a synchronization in terms of spirituality. And when you bring there's the money issue, which times without number, you would get feedback from people who are already married as the problem, as the major contributor to the problems in marriage. So making intending couples understand that finance is a crucial part, of marriage is also important. Then there's the family angle. Yes, we understand that before they decide to come together, it's possible that families have agreed. However, in trying to also make them see in marital counseling, it's important to make the intending couples, see that different families have different makeups. There are different people in different families. That two families have agreed to come together to become in-laws, doesn't mean everything will be rosy. It means there are things that must be done. There are things that must be done on the part of the people who are getting married to make sure they keep the two families sane and in one accord. All of these things also, all of these kind of lessons come up during premarital counseling. There's also talking about quote and unquote the almighty sex. It's important that when intending couples are being counseled, they are counseled to understand what sex really is, making them see that fidelity is a very important part of making marriage work, because we can't isolate fidelity from sex. They are intertwined, and under fidelity you would also get trust, being able to trust your partner, knowing that by the time you get married to this partner, there will be maximum or mutual fidelity, where both of you are staying true to yourself, where both of you are contented, where both of you, even when the harsh seasons come, because we understand that in marriage, there will not be, you don't expect things to be all rosy. There are times when there will be challenges, in the bedroom, making sure that the people who are intending to get married are able to navigate turbulent times, when faced in marriage, especially when children begin to come, when there's no privacy as it used to be, when a whole lot has changed. Dynamics in marriage begin to change when children come. And then also in premarital counseling, of course, we don't forget to talk about children, when children come or before children come, because we understand that there are times even in marriage where people are late starters when it comes to having children. So in marriage, we understand that God gives children. There are times when you go into marriage and then in the next 9 months there's a cry of a baby. There are times when they have to wait 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So being able to teach intending couples about giving room for contingencies. That's why they say marriage is not a bed of roses. For some persons, there are issues in marriage that might be childbearing. For some persons, it might be economical. There are different trials and tests we will face in our marriages. So all of these things are what we break down into different courses, different modules, and they say we are teaching intending couples, which was why I said it's not just about counseling, it's education, it's premarital education. Once a person is armed with the right knowledge, he or she knows how to navigate life. It's like having somebody who didn't attend a university and having someone who attended a university. You will find out that that person who has spent 4 years, 7 years, or whatever amount of years in the university, when he or she comes out, might be able to take on some level of things versus somebody who stopped in the secondary school level. Now, I'm not saying people don't make it without going to the university. I'm only talking about the exposure. So, in like manner, when it comes to having premarital education, exposure to the very things that can trigger issues, to the very things that can cause a problem or cause a crack in marriage is important. So that by the time couples are armed with this information, they are able to navigate successfully, knowing that marriage indeed is not a bed of roses, but it sure can be navigated.
Okay, so Joy, I want to find out, at what time do you think premarital sex should come in as the counseling, premarital counseling? When should it be? 3 months into the relationship, when you've just started, 6 months, or when exactly? Is it immediately, or when the relationship has gotten to that stage where you have proposed, and when?
Okay. So if I get you right, you're asking at what point should sex come in, whilst in that relationship stage, right? Before they go into marriage. Am I right? Okay. So we understand the importance of not having how important it is not to put the cart before the horse. Not to put the cart before the horse. Now, why is this important? Now, in counseling couples, we can't negate the fact. So, in counseling intending couples, we can't negate the fact that there are people who, upon starting their relationship, may have had sex. And there are people who may have agreed to say, okay, let's keep this at bay because we want to get things right. And then we understand that everybody is an adult. Ideally, it's important to keep going physical at bay, before getting married. This is where delayed gratification comes in. But of course, like I said, every human being, we are all different with different, makeups, different ideologies, different experiences, different exposures. And then, nobody should be judged for whatever reasons. So it depends on the two people involved, your agreement. Like I said, ideally, it's important that two people trying to look into marriage, should first try. And then again, you would find out that by the time sex has happened, emotions can get beclouded. Sense of judgment can get beclouded. That shrewd sense, having that shrewd emotional intelligence, may not be there anymore. I'll break that down. Being shrewd in your emotional intelligence means being able to make a decision or make judgments without biases. So when you have a relationship where the guy and the lady already have begun to have sex, and maybe they find out that along the line there are some red flags, chances are that that sex will be clouded in determining should we go on, should we not go on, because sex is already involved. So there are things you might see, there are anomalies you might see in a relationship. Because already you've gone physical. You are saying, if I leave this guy, because I have given myself, or if I leave this lady, she's like fantastic, I've not met her type before. There are some things that actually becloud senses of judgment, which is why we try as much as possible to advise that if you're able to leave going physical at bay, please leave that. so that you can, go the whole 9 yards with your sharp senses of judgment, knowing that you're making decisions not because sex was involved, and that you can leave a relationship when things go bad, not because sex was involved, but because you know that you're emotionally intelligent and you're wiser to or you're more intelligent to know that because I haven't given a part of me, because whether we like it or not, sex takes away a part of you. You're depositing a part of you in someone anytime there is sex. Either as a guy or as a lady. I don't want to go into the religious aspect now, because we all have different, ideologies when it comes to our religious stances. But ideally, it is important to keep it at bay. However, if it has happened, or if it wants to happen, there has to be level of agreement. Well, one is not saying, okay, you forced me to do this, or I didn't do that, and all of that.
All right, thank you so very much, John Wokolo. The fact that she's been my namesake and she's beautiful this morning in her green, smiling and giving us the educational tips we need to know.
Thank you
I
so
really
much.
Appreciate. Thank you
so good to have
for
you.
joining us. Thank you for making our time to be our guest this morning. We appreciate. And thank you for sharing your knowledge. At least we know that the couples are intending. Couple out there have learned why it's important to be involved in premarital counseling. Thank you. We wish you a wonderful week ahead and a blissful, graceful morning. Thank you very, very much. God bless you.
Thank you. Have a lovely day.
Okay, so that is Joy Wokolo. She's a relationship marriage counselor and expert. She has really taught us why it's important. We were saying it before she joined us that counseling, you first do individual before you come together. Because I think once you do the individual, it gives you an idea of readiness. Am I ready to actually move? Because sometimes you feel like you're in that euphoria of let me get married, and then by the time you start going through the process, you start asking yourself, hey, hold on, should I pursue another career, or should I go ahead?
When you are doing the individual, also you should consider the fact that you still need to get counsel from your cultural background,
yes,
where you are coming from. Where am I coming from? This and this are the things my family will want to take. These are the things the husband who is coming to marry me will have to go through. You understand? So you need to prepare your mind.
You know why another thing about cultural this knowledge is important, because sometimes we forget that aspect. Get married into a family, then you hear my family don't do this, the husband side. Like I know some parts in Nigeria that it's a taboo for a husband's friend to give the wife money directly. You have to pass through the husband, so if you're not grounded and then you just did the normal and you went in and the man is saying no, it's a taboo, it's a culture.
It's good to really know where you are coming from,
and where you want to get married.
Where you want to get married. You find out, you do your research, or you ask the elders in your own family, or someone like this, how is this? What have you heard when you were younger? Now, do they still practice it? You still go and look for somebody with, so it's all about counseling yourself and preparing
yourself so
that you're not because on our
if you now want to marry somebody from that tribe, I just give an illustration, and then you now say, no, please, I'm not. How can you tell me that this is a taboo?
And I think it's high time our young ones also put this into, into know, so that at the end we say, after the husband died or after the wife died, they will now say
all those things you get. So you really need to get yourself
and you find yourself like, I was not prepared for this.
It's not just
not tell me this. So you will not be caught unaware.
You'll not be caught unaware. It's very good
for one.
Yes, it's been a very educative one here. It's really, really good and interesting. Lori, let's round up.
Okay, so a beautiful morning I wish all of you, and I pray this week will be a successful one for you and I. So please, our young ones, find out all these things. Many of us don't have the liberty to ask many questions then, but it has come to our notice that you need to do this, and so prepare your mind and God will help you. My name is Olori Adejoke. If you have a fruitful day, just look for me, Olori Adejoke, on Facebook.
Yes, you know, they say knowledge is never wasted. Keep seeking for knowledge. Keep reading. And to our parents, the exams are here. Please guide our kids. Let them read throughout this period. Yes, this is the week of exams. Please, I'm saying, don't be too busy to do revision or study with them. Take out little time to do that 1 or 2 revision. It will help a long way. Thank you very much for joining us on the first episode for this week of Family and Values. My name still remains Joy Abu, and of course my Instagram handle, all my social media handle is Joy Abu Official. You see that pretty lady there across all social media platforms. The next program is up on Galaxy Television. Please stay tuned. Be our guest on the next show. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Have a graceful Monday. And go chase that money. Bring the bag home. Bye. We'll see you tomorrow.